Hello, J244 here, and welcome back to another Minecraft build showcase. And this time, I am not showcasing something out of Star Wars, I'm showcasing something out of a completely different franchise of sorts. And you can see its logo to the left of my head. Yes, that is right, today I am showcasing an SCP Foundation Minecraft build done by me and Spinosaurus. You might remember him from the most of our video, he also helped me doing that. So this build, we worked on it together over about a week. This build, we actually did it before the Mustafar build. I just decided to showcase the Mustafar build first to get my channel started, because, you know, everyone loves Star Wars. Hardly anyone knows about the Foundation. So quickly, before I start, I kind of have to explain what the SCP Foundation is. I'm holding a keycard. Now, the SCP Foundation is a fictional foundation that contains anomalies and paranormal activity. And each of these anomalies or paranormal activity are given an SCP designation. Now, a famous example of one of these SCPs would be SCP-096, also known as the Shy Guy, or SCP-173, who, by the way, was the very first SCP. So, yeah, and there's an awful lot of SCPs. There's about 5,000 of them, give or take. So, yeah, I will leave a link to the SCP Wiki in the description, along with as many of the SCPs in this video that I can remember. Now, none of the SCPs are actually spawned in, because with the Minecraft Bedrock add-on I'm using, when you spawn in the SCPs, nothing works. Absolutely nothing. Just nothing works. Now, the add-on is a bit bugged, but I will leave a link to it down in the description. And it was by Bendy the Demon 18, and I've also got the SCP collaboration add-on up in the top right corner, so you can already see that one. Anyway, without further ado, we might as well get started. So, where I'm standing right now is intended to be Gate A, so the front entrance to the Foundation. And the idea is that this is kind of like, it's like a canyon, and the entrance to the SCP Foundation is here. So we've got like runways and stuff. There's an aircraft hangar here, and you may have noticed that's a helipad there. And in here we've got, I think this was intended to be a map room or something of the sort. No, this was supposed to be the garage. I said close. Okay, no, maybe not. And I think this was intended to kind of just be general storage over here. And then in here is the actual foundation. And by the way, these doors are really, really sick. They're part of the Bendy the Demon add-on. So, if you want to get those, check out the link in the description. And you can download the add-on for yourself. And it is Minecraft Bedrock. Before someone asks, this is not Java. Does it look like Java to you? Okay, so here, up top, we have containment cells for the SCPs that kind of need an outdoor enclosure. So this is SCP-250, most of an Allosaurus Keta class. Now there are 5 classes of SCP Foundation, of SCPs, sorry, but I only know 4 of them. So there's Keta class, Euclid class, Safe class, and Thaumiel class. Thaumiel is like a powerful end-of-the-world type entity. Keta is violent, sentient, and wants to break out. Euclid means it's not really understood, and Safe means, well, it's safe. Now there is another class, which isn't really a class, which is neutralized, but not very many SCPs are actually neutralized. This is most of an Allosaurus' enclosure. This was done by Spino, because most of an Allosaurus is his favorite SCP. So, you know, it's basically just, it's supposed to be like Jurassic style, essentially. So there's like bushes and trees and all that stuff. And then further down the corridor, we've got SCP-1000, Bigfoot's enclosure, which can be seen here. Not really much to see, if I'm honest, it's just a spruce tree. Let's just pretend nothing happened. And then here we have the entrance. I keep placing blocks. So the actual like main underground foundation. And ahead of us we have a lift, and the door just opened by itself. There's ghosts. Why is it doing that? That is really weird. Anyway, so we will go to level 1 first, shall we? Here we are. So this Sector 1A is intended to be like item SCPs. So they're SCPs that aren't like entities, they're just items. Now this sector's it's quite small. It's just like a rectangular corridor that comes around and then back to here. So I'll get through all these. SCP-1762, Where the Dragons Went. Now this is classified as neutralized because in actual Foundation lore, it doesn't do anything anymore. It's kind of dead. But this is what it looks like. Yeah, it just kind of chills on its podium. Doesn't really do much. Here we have SCP-148, the Telekill alloy. Which is actually level 5, because this one's really dangerous. And there it is, hanging in its item frame. Now, in the add-on we don't actually have the actual Telekill alloy, because what the Telekill alloy is it's an ore, like a stupid, strong ore. And the add-on creators didn't add that, they just added a knife made of it. So there isn't anything to show for it but a knife. Here we have SCP-063, the world's best toothbrush that instantly brushes your teeth. It's very strange. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff in the Foundation. You'll probably get used to that by the end of this video. Here we have SCP-500, Panacea. Panacea, there. Which is a pill that cures all diseases. Yeah. So this one's pretty important to the Foundation. So they never let anyone near them, which is why I've set it to level 5 keycard clearance. SCP-458 Infinite Pizza. It's a pizza box. You hit it, and it gives you pizza. Nom. So now we're heading down to Sectors 1, 2, and 3. Sector 1 is Hospitality, Sector 2 is Light Containment, and Sector 3 is Heavy Containment. And that's where we'll find all the big boys. Down the elevator. Are we here? We're here. Now the doors are slightly glitchy. They do sometimes take a while to open. But this is the hospitality sector. And what this is it's where like Foundation employment dorms are. It's where the libraries are. It's where toilets are. It's basically where all the stuff that people need to be happy and to live is. Now this is the library and research area. There's a lot of stuff here. Books, chairs, tables, all the sort. We've got lab tables and... Oh my goodness, Spino, you went completely insane. Oh yeah, I didn't build this. This was all constructed by Spino. And he kind of went a bit wild in here. Alright, well, I'm gonna leave. By the way, if you want like a full add-on showcase, you're gonna need to leave a like on this video. And if it gets enough likes, now I won't say how many, but if it gets enough likes, I will A, release this map, and B, give you an add-on showcase for the SCP Foundation add-on made by Bendy the Demon 18, who insists on making sure that I never forget that. Now this is okay, hold on, I need to start over here. We're in light containment now. We've just exited the hospitality sector. There is more of it, but light containment's more interesting. This is SCP-999's containment, the Tickle Monster. 999 is basically a little candy monster. It's really sweet, really kind. Oh, that's security out there. Really sweet, really kind, really cool SCP. I really like him. He's one of the fan favourites. SCP-191, the Cyborg Child. Obviously, there's nothing here. I haven't spawned it in, but there is containment in there. Now, there are a couple of slightly weird SCPs. No females permitted beyond this point. This is level 3 clearance, for a good reason. The mannequin, hang on, I need to check the 847, is an SCP that essentially hates women. So it's quite sexist, and if it comes into contact with women, it turns them into a mannequin. So that one's slightly creepy, so I'm not going to hang around there. In here we have another famous SCP, SCP-049, the Plague Doctor, who is Euclid class. We've actually got like an interview table and a lab operating table. Now if you want to find out more about 049, click on the link for him in the description. He's a bit creepy, and I don't really want to explain him. So, you know, yeah. It's kind of... It'll be confusing for people who don't understand the Foundation. SCP-166. I'm not reading that out loud. Who is Euclid Club. And what... Now, there will be a link to 166 in the description. Again, I refuse to explain that one. Because it's slightly inappropriate. Now, that's actually the way to heavy containment. We're not going there quite yet. But I'll take you through this corridor here. SCP-066, Eric's toy. Now, this was one of the only containment cells that Spino built. And, it's a bit more, it's kind of more gloomy than all the other ones. But, you know. Now, the thing with Spino, when we were doing this, he insisted on making it as similar to everything as he possibly could. And I just wanted to make it look good. So we kind of had several fights over how to make things look good. SCP-323, the Wendigo skull. This is basically a skull that when you put it on, it turns you into a Wendigo. Lovely. And here we have the bathrooms. There is nothing interesting to see here. Now, further along this corridor, there's the entrance to the other side of Sector 1. But we're going to go this way and check out the other two SCPs that are down here. Above. And here we have SCP-811, the Swamp Woman, who is... I feel like I keep seeing things. The Foundation is messing with my head. Who is an SCP that is basically pretty self-explanatory, a woman who lives in a swamp. She's also super creepy, so let's not go there. SCP-2295, Patchwork Teddy. Basically the ultimate organ donor. Safe class. They're very... Some of the SCPs are benevolent. They're, like, kind. And they exist to kind of help humanity. Others exist to destroy it. We're about to meet one of those examples. I'm going to skip over that one real quick. We'll come back to that one later. This is possibly one of the most famous SCPs. It is the first SCP that was ever created. SCP-173, also known as the Statue. I don't know why there's a key card there. Now, SCP-173 is basically a tall statue that kind of resembles a peanut and kind of doesn't. Its nickname is Peanut. And it's basically, if you don't look at it, it'll shoot towards you and snap your neck. So, yeah, that's lovely, isn't it? I'm gonna leave now. In here we have SCP-131, the iPods. Now I've put these close to 173 for a reason. Because where everything spawned in here, say someone was in there when when SCP-173 breached containment, they could just come down here and grab the iPods. The iPods are little entities, they don't blink, and they move around and they just stare. And some believe that they exist to directly counter 173, hence why they're here. So just in case 173 breaks containment, they're there as a kind of last-ditch safety resort. Now here we have SCP-745 the Headlights. Now these are like raptors with glowing heads. They operate in pairs. So, say you're driving along a country road late at night in Arizona. You'll see the headlights coming towards you, and because their heads glow, it'll just look like there's a car's headlights coming towards you. But right before it looks like the car is going to hit you, the headlights will split apart, and if that happens, consider yourself dead. Now in here we have SCP-023, the Black Shuck. This is an extremely dangerous dog, essentially. Now obviously it's not in here, but we've got a heavy containment cell here because it's extremely dangerous. I shouldn't go near it. Again, its thing is linked in the description if you want to go check that out. It'll give a more thorough explanation than what I am capable of giving. So, now I think that's actually all the SCPs in light containment. Yeah! Managed to cover those in less than 15 minutes, I'm surprised. Now we're moving on to the big bads. Sector 3, Heavy Containment. Now you will notice the difference immediately. Heavy Containment is gloomy and unwelcoming and very much unforgiving. It's quite a unfriendly place. In here we have another of the most famous SCPs, SCP-096 the Shy Guy. This is actually what his containment cell looks like, contrary to popular belief. According to the SCP Wiki, his containment cell is a big steel box with him inside, and with a balcony running around it. So this is actually what his containment cell looks like, roughly. You know, I had to make a couple of adjustments so that it would fit Minecraft. But, yeah. Through here we have SCP-953, the polymorphic humanoid. Kita class. Now there's a lot of Kita class SCPs around here. This is basically a woman with the ability to shapeshift, but whenever she shapeshifts, she always retains like one aspect of a fox. So, like, say she shapeshifts into a woman, she'll either have a foxtail or fox ears. It's basically how it works. So she's quite strange. Although then again, all of these SCPs are very strange. Through this doorway, and then down this corridor, there are another two SCPs. This is SCP-058, the Living Heart. Now, I don't know that much about this one. It's just in the add-on, so I thought I might as well add it. Again, it's linked in the description. You can go check out what they actually look like and what their containment's like in there. There's a hole in the wall. We're going to ignore that. Down here, we have SCP-093-1, Unclean. Now, what SCP-093 actually is it's a small round red object that, when placed on a mirror, turns the mirror into a portal to another dimension. And in this dimension, there are these gigantic beings known as the Unclean. And the idea with this is that the Foundation plucked one out and have smacked it in containment. And this is its containment cell. Now here we have another famous SCP. SCP-106 the Old Man. Kita class. The Old Man is something I refuse to explain. It is creepy as, and if you want to find out more about it, check the description. I'm not teaching you about that guy. Here we have SCP-939 with many voices. Now, 939 is an interesting SCP because it's not necessarily an anomaly. 939 is a species of dog-like creatures that have the terrifying ability to imitate human voices. And they can imitate the human voice of a loved one or someone, someone cares about. And they'll do that to lure in their human prey. Now, funny enough, these aren't actually like anomalies. They are, in fact, an ancient species that was forced underground by early humanity. So they're kind of an anomaly, but they're also kind of not. Like, there's no explanation for how they imitate human voices, but I do have some of my own theories. Through this door. And here we have SCP-019 the Monster Pot, which is Keta class. This is a pot that spews tiny, murderous, axolotl-like creatures. Lovely. Not sure why this corridor's all dark. There we go. Now in here we have SCP-1048, the Build-A-Bear, which it will probably surprise you, but it's Keta. Read the description. Then see if you're surprised. We have SCP-3199, Humans Refuted. Again, read this one yourself. I refuse to explain it. They're very strange. And just like that, we have covered every SCP in heavy containment. Now, it's surprising me how little time it's taking for me to cover all these SCPs, because this build took an awfully long time. Like, for example, placing all the basalts for heavy containment took ages, because I had to get it all in the right orientation. So, I really would appreciate it if you left a like on this video, and subscribe to the channel to see more builds like this, because it will really motivate me to keep going with builds. I'll keep going anyway, but, you know, it feels good to know that people appreciate it. Now here we are back in hospitality. This is the other side of hospitality, and this is where like all the dorms and things are, basically. So in here, this is site security. This was supposed to be an armory. I never actually got around to finishing it, which is kind of embarrassing. Probably should have made sure I finished everything before I started recording a video. But here we've got Laboratory A. All the laboratories have the same exact interior. They basically all just look like this. I do actually have Education Edition on the world. All these blocks are from Education Edition. They are actually implemented into Minecraft. They're not an add-on. So if you turn on Education Edition on Pocket Edition, you get this kind of stuff. We have Laboratory C, which isn't quite finished yet. So we're just going to close that door quickly. Now this is the security room. There's chairs and tables and all that. There's a computer on the floor because someone shoved it off. Spino. Now if we head down this corridor and down here, this is the cafeteria, which is emphasised by the fact that there's many long tables, lights in the ceiling, and chairs where employees can sit and have their lunches. Now through here, this is D class. The D class are the very bottom of the Scp Foundation, and I never finished this wall, so we're just gonna, there we go, and we've got the D-class cafeteria in here, and this is the D-class holding cells. There's a lot of them. They get toilets and sinks and beds, and they get no privacy, because D-class tend to be death row inmates, and basically horrible criminals who've done horrible things, and they serve sentences at the Foundation. Down this corridor, past the cafeteria, we have the site director office, and the site director is, of course, me. Yes. And this is my office. I made it look very nice. We have a waiting chair for people who come in. I can sit here. I said I can sit here. Apparently I can't sit there. Can I sit here? I can sit here. Yeah. So I can't sit in my spinny chair. That's annoying. But yeah, that's my office basically. And here we have storage. It's basically grey shulker boxes, completely empty. And this is like the server room. So there's SCP Foundation servers and stuff running below us. And then round here we have the medical area, which has like a bunch of beds and stuff. So this is where like people get medical treatment and all that. I just shut myself in here. Now down this corridor again, this is another area that was never quite properly completed. I had everyone here, like all my friends, come around and build their own quarters. Spino never actually did, because he was too busy working on other stuff. These are my quarters. I made these quite nice and spacious. I've got a TV, computer, storage. I've got a bedroom. Very nice and cozy. And I've got a bathroom, which is empty. Okay, look, I'm still moving in, alright? I'm not quite done yet. These are Big C-8311's quarters. They're kind of strange. He really didn't want to really do anything on the world, so he kind of just did some weird thing. This looks more like a containment cell than actual quarters. Now here we have Red X's quarters. These ones are slightly odd, but he's got a fish tank in the middle. Got green. Red X loves his green. He really, really does. Rarely have I seen him make something that isn't out of a green block. He really likes the colour green. Down this corridor, we have the dorms. And these are all exactly the same, so I'll only show you one of them. You can open the door. Yeah. So each dorm essentially looks like that. They're pretty simplistic. And each dorm has 4 rooms, so there's a lot of Foundation members that could be held here, because there's quite a few dorm blocks. Now if we head through this door here, this lovely door, close it behind us. This is the other medical wing, which was built by Spino, which is why it looks a bit different to my design. And it's where people who have slightly worse injuries, like broken bones and stuff like that, are treated. And in here, we have more storage. Just generic storage, really. I've never seen the bottom of a shulker box before. That looks really weird. And thus concludes the build showcase. Really, there's not much else to say. This Foundation build did take a lot of time and was quite a hefty thing to do. It was the first big build project I've done in a very long time, and getting all the add-on stuff right and all that took quite a lot of effort. So if you could subscribe, I would really appreciate it. I've left this to the end of the video because I know it really annoys people. And if you leave enough likes on this video, I will do an add-on showcase, and I will release this map, or at least I will try to. I still haven't figured out how to release maps. Now, I won't tell you how many likes, because I like leaving things a secret. But, yeah, thank you guys very, very, very much for watching. And I will leave you with an overhead shot of what the map looks like from the outside.